today what we're looking at here is a LS X-Ram engine. We're just really doing a lot of R&D before we actually release this thing, but we've been doing prototypes for a few customers, and we've done something new here. Is that we've actually done a dual drive-by-wire naturally aspirated X-Ram. So it's got twin 90mm drive-by-wire throttle bodies. We went ahead and took everything apart and had it all wrinkle coated. But it's really tricked because we can actually have like a full 16x16 table for the foot pedal and the throttle opening. So you can actually progressively add the throttles open. You can open them up fast. You know, you can set your idle targets. You don't need an IAC. So it's kind of the next evolvement of our X-Ram is getting the DBW hooked up here. And it really is nice because you can go and calibrate each throttle body. So you're getting the same amount of air to each plenum and throughout the entire movement. And sometimes with linkage with dual or even multiples, it's hard to get the linkage actuating correctly. So we went this route to do that. As you can see, the X-Ram, it's a real long runner. It's a laid over tunnel ram basically. So you get this really good straight shot, but you still get the length of the runner. So instead of, you know, like a factory manifold where you have a nice long runner, but then you have to take these big bends and then fight inside the plenum for the bends, you just get a nice straight shot and then it goes into a nice open plenum, and then you've got, you know, double the amount of air available because we've got twin 90mm throttle bodies. You can see we made this to actually fit into a 5th generation Camaro. That was the initial design, but you know, it seems like you know, ultimately it's going to be probably more of all sorts of different combinations other than just that. But it's very low. If you look at the actual manifold height, you know, the height of the manifold compared to the China wall, it's only about an inch taller than stock, and you know, give you an idea, it fits under the hood of a stock 5th gen. It also, you know, throttle body placement and everything else, you can see we got a big 220 amp alternator, air conditioner, all of this stuff, and it's fitting all this nice sexy drive unit that we got going on here. What's kind of neat too is I had Cook's headers. They made us some nice dyno headers, so now we've got, you know, easy access to everything for the dyno. So they made me some multiple sizes, so we'll be testing a bunch of different header pipes and primary lengths, etc. So thank you, Cooks, for making me some nice headers. So this is a dry sump engine. Now, even though the engine's all black and murdered out, this is a all aluminum tall deck RHS with some CNC ported West Coast cylinder heads, and they're, you know, nice piece. And then we've got this really nice serpentine drive from Wigner, and it's just a great piece. We're gonna fire it up, and I guess what I'm pointing out is you'll be able to see the actual throttle response of this thing. It's nuts. You're not gonna ever get this kind of throttle response out of a conventional intake. So I think the beauty of it is not only do you get a really sexy looking engine, but you get something that sounds really good and responds like nothing you've ever seen. You know, so. I think these will be the cat's meow once we actually release them and finalize the deal.
big red.
Something pretty trick about this engine is it's got a external dry sump. Aviad makes this, and I think what's kind of slick about this is we've ended up, rather than having a drive unit, you take a look, the ATI damper, we had a cog built into the back of the damper, so it's one with the damper, and I think that's pretty slick. Kind of a nice little compact package. Alright, so here's a look at the final dyno here, and what you're looking at right here. Now keep in mind this motor is 9.5 or 9.67 to 1 hydraulic cam going in a truck, so this is meant to have really broad, strong torque. So we got a peak of 669, basically 700 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, but this is what makes this thing badass. 500 foot-pounds at 3,500, but look at this: 571, 580, 590, 600, 609, 617, 616, 66. 575 foot-pounds still at 6,100. So your torque curve with this intake engine combination, your torque curve is this wide. It's just f***ing all balls torque, and that's what's the bitching about this thing, is it's just super wide. This engine is a Stroker LS for Abdulis. Abdulis has been a great customer. This motor is actually going to Qatar, so we're making sure it's all sweet here before it goes on a long plane ride. So it's going to be abused. Basically, this thing was going in a real heavy truck, so it's going in 1,500 truck, probably 5,000 plus pounds. It's going to see super heavy duty temperatures of 115 degree driving, and just, it's going to get abused. So we basically have overbuilt this engine. It's got a Timken steel Bryant crank, billet Oliver rods, a forged piston with a pin that really basically is a turbo piston almost. And it's got a 6-bolt head, 6-bolt block. It's just a super burly engine that he's going to be able to beat the shit out of. And I'm going to be happy to see some footage of this thing just getting crazy when he gets it over there in Qatar.